I don't know if you have felt it, but lately I have felt a shift. I was born in 1958, and throughout my childhood, we were always hearing these are the end times, these are the end times, because of the wars and the civil unrest. But I have never felt Satan's presence like I do now, and it is really freaking me out. Last night, I went to our homeowners association, and I hadn't been to one in years. For some reason, I felt drawn to go there, and I saw the neighbors that have been harassing me and lying about me for years get bitch slapped by the HOA in a way I have never seen before. A couple of months ago, I contacted the property manager, and she's 94 years old, a complete and utter piece of work. And I just put up with her abuse for years because I thought she'd kick the bucket at any time. And I let her know that my uncle, 90 years old, was moving in, and gave her the information via email, because we're supposed to, if we rent a room out to someone else, and let them know who's on the property. And anyway, since he's 90, I wanted to make sure they knew where it belonged in case they found him in the bushes or something. She absolutely tore into me, raged, screaming bloody murder that tenants are not allowed to have renters. And I said, when I bought the property, I asked you if I could have renters, and you said yes. And she screamed bloody murder. I've never seen it. Was straight from hell. It said, no, I never said that. If you don't have it in writing, it never happened. And then when I hung up, I was so shaken, I realized that what she was talking about was she thought I was a renter of a property, subletting it to someone else. I am the owner. I am the owner, and I am certainly allowed to rent a room to a relative. So it was her response that blew me away. So a couple of weeks ago, I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and there is a huge commercial truck right outside my window. And I got video of it on my phone. And the next morning I look out, and our maintenance man is cleaning all this chalky stuff off the street out there. And I called her up, and I told her I had a video of the truck that did it, because why would it be out there? And she tore into me, scream. I'm telling you, I'm speaking to her like I'm talking to her right now. I was not yelling or upset. I thought I was helping her because something odd went on out there. And she yelled bloody murder, saying she couldn't help me, and hung up the phone. And I thought maybe she's losing it because of her age, But last night, these neighbors that are totally possessed by Satan, so don't think I felt too sorry for them, but they were up there in the meeting, and the lady tried to tell them that she got her bill and there was a fine on there. The bill has the homeowner's fees and the utility bill for the month, and then there's this fine, and she doesn't know what it's about. She said she should have gotten a letter, and they gave her utter crap. The homeowners president and the management just yelled and targeted her and bore into her. This is satanic. I have been thinking about this all day. this is sign of the other side taking hold. And when we see all these homeless drug addicts kind of walking around slowly and covered in filth, and yesterday I saw an 80-year-old woman eating out of the trash can at the Home Depot Center. And I'm thinking, this is what utter moral decay leads to. We are seeing signs of Satan here, you know? I don't know if you've ever had anyone do this to you, but when you're trying to just figure out what's going on and you're not being rude, and they just put a wall up and just let you have it with total rudeness and disrespect, and they were breaking her down. She was on the verge of tears, and she just kept trying to communicate with them, and they told her she had a letter, that she didn't appear for a hearing. She said, I didn't get any letter, and truthfully, I've known the family for 30 years. The woman doesn't work, and she's like 20 feet away from the clubhouse. I think if she had gotten a letter to appear, she would have gone, especially since they don't have much money, and she'd be very concerned about a fine, and she'd want to plead her case. What the hell? What was that? So she's on the verge of tears, and she gets up and she cusses and yells the S word and slams the door, and they just all these idiots on the board just sit there. And then this other lady comes up, and she's a young lady, Hispanic, black hair. She had shorts on, she had tattoos up her leg, and she had some problem with, they had sent her a letter about a trailer she had in her driveway. And she said she was divorced, she was under a lot of stress. She has 5 kids and is starting a new business, and she needs to store stuff in it. And her ex-husband read the CCNRs and told her it was fine to have it there. And they did the same thing to her. They just railed into her until they had her in tears. And she left, and she was just shaking and completely wrecked. They aren't doing anything to try to solve the problems. They're trying to destroy the people. And for a long time, I have said that I think these jackasses, along with the city of Escondido, is trying to steal our properties from us. They're trying to get us out for pennies on the dollar. I would say treating people like this is what they're up to. What else could it be? So after the ladies left, I said, you know, that one lady, you need to send her a letter. She has to know what the fine is about before she pays it, before you charge her. She said she got a letter. She got a letter in the bill. Well, the violation letter is like this big, and the bill comes about the size of a check. There's no way in hell a violation letter would fit in that envelope. And then the guy, and he was giving me the business too, and all I'm doing is asking. He says, this has been going on since December, and just laying into me, just, I don't know, I think maybe he expects to get crap from people, so that's why he acts that way. Maybe he's jaded. I don't know, but this, to me, truly was demonic, where you're out to destroy people and not get along, not just do your job, but you have become the arbitrators of destroying people. And there's a lot of things. I think what Trump is doing with these ICE raids is like really odd. And you know, nobody thinks anything of it on YouTube. They don't. You know, this is what we voted for. I don't know about taking people down, tasing them, and throwing them on the street so they break their heads open. I mean, even if the guys are criminals, rapists, murderers, it scares everybody else around them. They think they're next, and this reminded me very much of how the ICE raids are being conducted. The people aren't being treated like humans. They're just being attacked and targeted. And Trump is allowing all of these detention centers to be built. Like there's 200 of them right now. I never see anyone complain or have a problem with it, because I guess they think as long as criminals are going in there, it's okay. But what happens when you run out of illegal immigrants, illegal criminals to put in there? Who's going to be put in there? Dissenters. That's who. Dissenters. And I find that troubling. And, people are so drunk on their Starbucks, it isn't resonating with them. He got rid of the penny, so he's moving us toward a cashless society. A cashless society is moving us closer to the mark of the beast, right? Where you can't buy or sell without the mark of the beast. He was messing around with cryptocurrency laws and then investing in that kind of cryptocurrency stuff. What the hell is going on? I mean, the world is not the same. And truly, I have never been one of these rah-rah Christian type people. In fact, I think they're embarrassing. But I think we're in the midst of spiritual warfare, and that we have got to get right with God. This is our only hope. I mean, I know other people are feeling something because these prepper channels are just going off the charts with views. I started to read the Bible again and pray a lot, and I get a lot of comfort from that. I, as you know, am running for mayor, and the newspaper in town publishes my letters down at the bottom, or they'll publish them with a bunch of punctuation mistakes I'd never make. I was a professional. I worked for San Diego Reader. The editors never had to correct anything of mine. And the last letter to the editor I sent, he wouldn't publish because it was critical of our mayor in Escondido. And the mayor is the son-in-law of a long-time city council member, and one of the former city council members are closing ranks around this individual and not letting me in. They're not letting me post my side anything. And so it's unethical. He's supposed to be unbiased. The editor of Escondido Times is supposed to be unbiased. And I took a sign I made. God, do I have it here? It's here. God be with you. And I go out on the streets, and this is how I campaign, because there's a lot of suffering and fear out there, and we have a very heavy Hispanic community, and they're scared out of their minds. And I think they're hurt too that America would treat us this way. My great-grandfather was Reverend Dr. Ernest Samuel Lyons, and he was a missionary and a lawyer for the Methodist Church. And once he retired in LA, he started the first United Christian Chinese First United Chinese Methodist Church on Hill Street in LA. I'd like to go see it. And he gave aid and comfort to the Chinese who were escaping from the Chairman Mao regime, which resulted in millions of death of people. And they would illegally stow away on boxes or in tanks on board ships sometimes to flee. And I started feeling his voice calling to me. And I just kept getting this prompting until I looked up these places where ICE raids have happened and take my sign out there and stand there. And I didn't know what to expect. I don't know if people even like God anymore. I absolutely brought the house down with my sign. No matter what the color, the age, the ethnicity, people were honking. The big trucks would honk so loud I'd jump out of my skin. They're waving, they're giving the thumbs up, they're smiling. God's winning. God's gonna win. But we are in a battle of spiritual warfare that we've never seen. And my advice to you after all these years and all these experiences I've had, get close to God, because you're going to need it, and so am I. Thank you for listening as usual.